Saxon Math 7-6, Lesson 83. Greetings, Jojo and Joel. Um, Order of operations. And that, as you may recall, we've talked about this a little bit already, that just has to do with problems that have a mix of different steps and which order do you do them in. So we're going to talk about that in just a minute. I want to talk about, the mental math problems that we were doing at the beginning of class some days. I really miss doing those. You guys are really good at those, and it's great practice for you. Those problems are in the book. You probably have seen them, that they're in the box at the beginning of each lesson. And gives you a couple different things to think about, and then it gives you problem solving. If you would like to do those yourself, here, I'll show you. If you would like to, see, it's right here. There's facts practice, that's busy work. Mental math, that's what we did. Problem solving, well, that's just a problem. We do problems here. Mental math is the one that I really like. If you want to look at those and try to do those yourself, I think that would be really great. If you have an older sibling who doesn't just pick fights with you and say horrible things, that would be great. If Jojo, if maybe Kyle would do these with you, or Joel for you, I don't know, Micah, try to get somebody to do them with you, I think that would be great too. But think about how you might work those back into your life, all right? Because I do want you to keep that up. That's the one thing I haven't figured out how to replicate in this online math thing that we're doing, and I miss them. So think about that. Let me give you an example of what we're going to be talking about in this lesson. I'm going to give you a string of numbers, and as you look at these, you'll see that we are doing some adding and some multiplying. Well, the order of operations says that we should multiply and divide before we add or subtract. And we always go from left to right and do all the steps at that level before we move on to the next one. So just like we read a book, we start on the left and we go to the right. And what we're doing is we're looking for any multiplication or division steps, and we're going to underline those. There's a multiplication, that's addition. There's another multiplication. Now we're going to actually do those multiplications before we go back and add. 2 times 8 is 16. Copy down the plus sign. 2 times 6 is 12. Now we can go and add them, and our final answer is 28. And I will remind you, do the steps out of order, you will get a very different answer. It's not the same. John also makes the point of saying that some calculators will, if you just put this all in order, if you just went 2 times 8 plus 2 times 6, some calculators are smart enough to use the proper order of operations for you. Other calculators are not. For me, that's just another good reason to not use a calculator, because you don't know if you can trust it or not. You can definitely trust your own brain. Okay, now we're going to make this a tiny bit harder. Tiny bit, don't worry. What we're going to do is stick a bunch of decimals in here. And this one's got everything but the kitchen sink. It's got 0.5 is the number every single time. We're adding 0.5, dividing by 0.5, subtracting 0.5, and multiplying by 0.5. All right, so we do exactly what this says. We go through first and we find all the multiplications, excuse me, and the divisions. There's a division, there's a multiplication. Now we find the answers to those and rewrite. The first one stays the same. Now, 0.5 divided by divided by itself is 1. So I'm going to write plus 1.0. I'll put the 0, the 0.0 in. I could just write a plain 1. And then we're going to subtract 0.5 times 0.5. Well, let's see. Let me just multiply that. The number part's easy, but we want to be careful with the decimals. That's 25, but we want to put 2 digits behind the decimal places. So that would become 0.25. Okay? That takes care of the division and the multiplication. Now we want to add and subtract from left to right. So 0.5 plus 1 equals 1.5 minus 0.25. I'm thinking in terms of quarters and money. If I have $1.50 and give somebody a quarter, then I have $1.25 left. And that's the right answer. Yay. Jane, did you want to tell me something? Okay. Are you guys, I'm in the middle of teaching a lesson to my math students.
You're going to edit this out?
Jane's here, so she's going to ask me a question. No, it's fine.
No, I'm just going to go to Target and pick up my Switch.
Ah, nice. Would you be that face cream
Olay?
that I use? Yeah, you can look at my bottle. It's the purple, it's the night cream version.
Okay.
Sorry, Jojo and Joel, just hang on, we're negotiating business here. It's expensive. If you want to take my card, you can. Okay. All right, back to order of operations. We got that target run under control.
Wait, do you need it immediately? Because the other thing is, I've already paid for it. I'm just going and picking it up.
That's fine, don't get it. It's fine. P.S. Dad got toilet paper today.
He told me.
Big news. Big news at the Stryker home. Okay, back to order of operations. Now, we're going to add, I'm going to take this little order of operations that we've been using. We said multiply and divide before you add and subtract. And now I'm going to say parentheses first. Okay, so I'm adding a new layer to this. So, for example, 83.3, we get a problem that looks like this. Okay, now you might say, all right, the 2 against the parentheses, that means multiply. So we should do that first. But parentheses change up the order of things. Even though this is addition, we're going to do it first because it's inside the parentheses. Okay? That's the tool mathematicians use. Parentheses, I always just remember them like this. They say, do me first. That's what parentheses say. They talk. Did you know? It's true. They say, do me first. So, even though addition is the last thing we should be doing, the parentheses bump it to the top of the list. So, I keep the 2 there. I add 8 plus 6. That's 14. Okay, now I've done that. Now, I remember that sometimes multiplication. And that's what this is. This is multiplication now. And so, I can do that next. Well, but it's also 28. Okay? So parentheses can set different priorities than just our regular symbols. So whenever you see parentheses, you remember that they say, do me first, and then you follow along with the rest. All right? Beautiful. That's lesson 83. We're done. I will see you on lesson 84.